Have you ever thought, why do I suck at fantasy football? Welcome. This is the Commissioner Fantasy Football Podcast.
And welcome to the Fantasy Football Podcast with the Commissioner, your host, your guide. Look, week 15 is here. This is basically 4 teams are left for the playoffs. It's this week and next week, and it's all over. And so hopefully you're that top 4 team that's in there. Just want to let you guys know, out of the 8 leagues that I was in, I made the playoffs in each league. Tough sledding, a lot of injuries, but I'm in 7 of the 8 leagues, the playoffs. So top 4 teams in each of those. So I'm pretty proud of myself. I don't want to, be too proud or pat myself on the shoulder. But again, it's a lot of work going into fantasy. And if you paid attention to anything I've been saying all season, hopefully you use some of that advice and hopefully you're the top 4 in your league. And the reason I kind of mention that is because one thing I want to say before I get into the starts for week 15 is the biggest thing I've found to be successful in fantasy football is drafting depth. So thinking, hey, I'm going to get a Christian McCaffrey in the first round and I'll just pick up random guys. No. The biggest thing I found to be true in a lot of leagues that I survive with injuries. For example, I drafted CEH in one league in the first round. And the only reason I'm surviving in that league is literally because I drafted a bunch of running backs after that. I've been picking up running backs. Again, the scarcity of the running backs and injuries with the running backs is the biggest factor. And the more you have running backs on your team, the more successful you're going to be. And that's what I found it to be this year for me. I drafted in one league 6 running backs. It was like James Conner, Antonio Gibson, who wasn't anything great in the beginning, but I knew there was some potential. Like Ronald Jones didn't have it. There was a mixed thing with Fournette. So all these guys that try to pick up as depth pieces. And again, some leagues injury bugs are there. I have Christian McCaffrey in 2 leagues, and it's unfortunate because I can't use him in week 15 in these playoff matchups. But look, I found Cam Akers on the waivers a few weeks back. So there's these things that you can do throughout the fantasy football season. Well, for me, the biggest key is running back depth in your draft and also on your waivers to stack up your bench, not with backup quarterbacks in the beginning or backup tight ends or some additional wide receivers, but running backs are the key. I found it to be true this year. I'll do an episode on that. So let's get into the starts for week 15. Game number 1 is this Thursday. It's the Chargers at the Raiders. And look, for me, this game should be good for both offenses. Both defenses stink. So, for example, if you're having trouble, if you have Justin Herbert like I do in a lot of these fantasy matchups, and he didn't perform against the Falcons, so in back of my mind, I'm like, that's not a good defense. He's playing another good defense. I'm still confident starting him. Not maybe like top 5 or maybe even top 10, but I'm comfortable starting him. If you have Tannehill, okay, you can maybe start Tannehill over him. I'm not sure who else, but I'm not going to start Derek Carr over him. Or, for example, Jared Goff has a good matchup. I'm not starting Jared Goff over Herbert. I'm just not in this matchup. Indoors, Raiders, just their defense stinks. So Mike Williams might be out. If Mike Williams is out, then Hunter Henry might be a good start. We also have Keenan Allen dealing with some injuries, but looks like he's going to play. If he plays, like you start. If Keenan Allen does not play, then Justin Herbert's value goes down, and I would look to start a Carr, Jared Goff. I will go on the waiver wires if Keenan Allen is not playing. Keenan Allen is the key for Justin Herbert, as we all know. Eckler, he's dealing with an injury. Just monitor that. If he's out, Balaj and Justin Jackson might be decent starts in this game. For the Raiders, look, the Chargers don't have a good run defense. Even if Bosa was there, being there, it's not as great. So Jacobs is a good start. He looked good on Sunday. Again, I know he's touchdown dependent. Hopefully this game he kind of goes off with the defense being on the short week. But Josh Jacobs, I have him in a few leagues. I'm starting him confidently. Waller, you start. Looks like Henry Ruggs is out. So I picked up Nelson Aguilar in a few leagues. I might have to start just because I'm playing against these teams, and I talked about it. like the projections are out there, and the projections like don't look good, and these teams are stacked because they have bye weeks. They're stacked, but I'm starting Nelson Aguilar in a few leagues just because of the potential upside. Again, if Derek Carr throws a few touchdowns and Nelson gets over 100 yards, you're set for 2 touchdowns. So I would start those guys. All right, game number 2. There's 2 games on Saturday, so that's going to be interesting. So we have an afternoon game on Saturday. Bills at the Broncos. For the Bills, you start Allen, start Diggs, start Beasley unless John Brown monitor. John Brown might be back. If he's back, don't start Beasley. It's just you don't know what's going to happen. But Beasley would be a decent start. And Bills defense this week is a good start. For the Broncos, Drew Lock, you could probably throw out there. But again, if you have better options, like I still play Herbert over Drew Lock. But Drew Lock can have a big game. He does that, right? He gets these big games. But Tim Patrick is a good start. Gordon might not play. If Gordon does not play, Lindsey is a good start. And then Judy, monitor his injury. He might be a decent start. Noah Fant might come back. I'm not trusting him in the playoff matchup. So look for better options on the tight end. Game number 3, Saturday night. My Packers are playing at home against the Panthers. Panthers defense, non-existent. So look, Christian McCaffrey is out, and I mentioned that earlier. Now it's frustrating if you have him and you made the playoffs. It is the most frustrating thing because you've been waiting for this, right? He was going to come back, and last week he got injured. Maybe this week, and nothing. So it's frustrating. Fantasy can be frustrating in that matter. But look, if he's not out, Davis, if you have Davis, good start. DJ Moore comes back. You could start him confidently. The Packers have a good pass defense, but it's not as been great. It's kind of, they have one good corner. Kevin King right now is not playing up to the potential that I thought he would be playing. So Packers defense could be exposed. Look, check out the weather too, because it might be, again, it's Green Bay. So Anderson would be a good start. If Moore doesn't play, Curtis Samuel might be a decent start. I'm not going to start Teddy Bridgewater in this game. I'm just not. Because, again, the Packers could come out and have a good game. So their defense could be a decent start, especially with Christian McCaffrey not there. I'm starting him on them in one league. For the Packers, you start Rodgers. Look, I've said this before the season began, and you could go back and look at my podcasts. Rodgers, I felt like had a chip on his shoulder. He was going to play lights out and play a different set of, at least for fantasy or production-wise, throwing more than last year. So it's unfortunate for like Aaron Jones. I'll have Aaron Jones in a few leagues. It's unfortunate they're not running the ball heavily, especially in the red zone. But I felt like that was going to happen with Rodgers. Look, he's a top 5, top 3 quarterback right now. He's in line for an MVP candidate. So that's what you get. And you probably, for example, a bunch of leagues didn't even draft Rodgers. And I'll talk about that at the end of the year. I'll do an episode about how to learn from this season and move forward. Lamar Jackson now just became like a top 10 quarterback in the few, whatever sets of leagues you have or the way they're scored. But look, start Rodgers. You got to start Aaron Jones. I'm thinking he might have a good game this week. Look, he looks good running the ball. Adams, you start, of course. Lazard, you can start. Tanyan's a tight end option, good start. And I mentioned the Packers these. So should be a good game. Should be, hey, we're Saturday night. Saturday football's back, which is kind of cool. All right. Sunday, we go into Sunday game 4. We have Bucks at the Falcons, indoor game. Again, Falcons defense stinks, but they're surprising. So if Ronald Jones broke his pinky and is getting things put into his pinky, he might not play. I hope he plays because I think if he's inactive, I'm playing him. So if Ronald Jones plays, you start. If he doesn't, Fournette, possibly a good start. So again, they have, Keyshawn Vaughn there, so they might use McCoy's there. So I wouldn't trust Fournette if Ronald Jones is out. I would stay away. Godwin, Evans, and Gronk, good starts, and Bugs D is a good start against the Falcons. Look, we don't know if Julio's going to play or he's going to be out for the rest of the season. I have him one league, and I'm waiting. That's all it is with Julio. You play Ridley, of course, and that's it. Nobody else from the Falcons. You cannot trust anybody there. Game 5, 49ers at the Cowboys. Both defenses are exposed, can get exposed. So for me, 49ers, Ayuk is the guy there. You start him. If Mostert is out, if Mostert is in, you start Mostert. If Mostert is out, Jeff Wilson is a good start. Debo is out for the season. Bourne, maybe Kendrick Bourne, but I'm not trying to go there. I think Kendrick Bourne might have a good game, but I'm not depending on that for my playoff matchups. For the Cowboys, you could throw in Zeke, but don't expect much. The team doesn't look good. Again, 49ers don't have that bad of, I mean, a bunch of their defense is exposed, but people run on them. But Zeke, just don't think he's going to, I hope he just have a steady, a steady, safe game. And that's what kind of can happen with Zeke. Amari Cooper is the only other start. Cowboys defense, a lot of people think they might start because it's a quarterback, but I'm not going to go. I'll try to look for better defense. Giants defense is a better option. Game 6, Lions at the Titans. So the Lions, Kenny Golladay, we don't know if he's back, but even if he's back, Matthew Stafford is going to be probably out for this game. It's frustrating. I like the Lions team. Swift is downgraded if Matthew Stafford doesn't play. Hawkinson is the only safe bet for me for the Lions because even with the backup quarterback, the short passes to a tight end are a lot easier to a big target like Hawkinson is. So he's for me a safe start. And then that's pretty much it. If Stafford plays, then if Golladay is out, Marvin Jones might be a decent play. But if Golladay is in, if Stafford is in, which unlikely, I would love for that to happen, especially in this game with the Titans not being that great of a defense, but that's how fantasy goes. For the Titans, look, you can start Tannehill. Henry's probably going to destroy. I'm playing him in a few leagues, and I'm worried because he's going to probably go off. I mean, the Detroit Lions defense is nothing. So, look, safe starts. Davis and A.J. Brown are good starts. And Titans defense, especially if Stafford is out, he's a good start. All right. Hey, Game 7. Texans at the Colts. Rivers, you can probably play him. They're going to try to run the ball. Texans they're just a mess at this point. So, look, Rivers is a decent start. Jonathan Taylor is a good start. Now that Jonathan Taylor's playing well, Hines, for me, I'm not going to trust him in this game. I picked him up in a few leagues hoping these would be great matchups, but Jonathan Taylor, he's the guy there. T.Y. Hilton, look, he's the guy there. And Pittman Jr., you could probably throw in there. I wouldn't trust, but you could do it. Colts defense, a good start. For Texans, Watson, look, man, it's hard. If Brandon Cooks plays, Kiki QT is there, and if David Johnson comes back, I think you could probably trust Watson. Again, he's going to run the ball. So if Brandon Cooks plays, you play him. And the Kiki QT, same thing. They're going to have to throw the ball. So, and the last game is the Patriots at the Dolphins for part 1. Patriots, I don't know who to trust. You can maybe throw in the Patriots defense just because Gesicki is out. Parker looks like if he plays, then the defense doesn't bow well. But I have no clue at this point what to do here. So, look, you can Tua, I don't know if to trust from the Dolphins. Maybe the Dolphins D is actually a good start. But this game is not fantasy relevant. Look, even I think you could try to trust these players, but I want to stay away from this game as much as I can. So hopefully you have better options. If you don't, hit me up. But these are tough decisions. Like Damian Harris, do I play him? Because he can run the ball. They're going to try to run the ball. Maybe James White is a good play. So all these are a bunch of ifs for me. Tua is even the if. If Parker and Gesicki would be playing that, Tua would be maybe a better start. But look, the Patriots know how to play defense. And for Miami, look, one thing you could do with Miami is if all the running backs are out, Lynn Bowden Jr. was the guy who was catching a lot of passes. So PPR, full point PPR, he would be a decent play in this game. But that's it. I'm not sure who else to trust in this game. So look, part 1 is done. We went through 8 games. Good luck to you guys in week 15. Hopefully you're in there. Hopefully you make the championship. I'm hoping in 7 of the leagues I move on. But with the teams that I have, a bunch of injuries, it's unlikely. But look, my goal every year is always to make the playoffs. And I was pretty successful out of 8 leagues. 7 of them I made it. And so it feels good. It feels good to be kind of successful in that range. So for me, it's all about learning. It's all about trying to learn from this year, move on to next year, and do more of these podcasts. So good luck this week until part 2. Hopefully you move on.
Dude, you better not be sleeping after that podcast. That was an amazing message. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Commissioner. Also subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Any comments, questions, concerns, send them to the Instagram page, The Commissioner, your fantasy football guide.